It's on me, baby.
Put it on me.
All right. Okay.
Phone number to Dayton law enforcement. Give me the phone number to the sheriff's office dispatch in Columbia County. Hi, I would like to ask a legal question in making a report. If I seen somebody hurt somebody, right? Like say I seen a man dragging his wife across the road while pregnant, and I didn't report it. Is that a crime?
So I'm just dispatch. If you'd like to speak with a deputy, because they're more familiar with laws and whatnot, I can get you over to a deputy if you'd like.
Yes, please.
Okay. Can I get your name real quick?
Yes, Valiente.
Okay.
Condi.
Okay. All right. You don't mind being on hold for just a moment? I'll call one of them and see if they're willing to
All right.
transfer. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, Valiant, are you still there?
Yes.
Okay, so I can transfer you to Sheriff's Helm if you'd like.
Yes.
Okay, I'll send you over there right now.
Thank you.
Who?
Not a problem.
Who?
Sheriff. The sheriff.
Ask him about the report, the investigation.
Hello, the Sheriff Helm.
Hi, this is Valiente. Calling in two regards, I guess. What?
What's up, Valiant?
Well, for instance, if I seen something like, say, I seen somebody dragging a pregnant woman across the road, beating her, and I didn't notify you guys, is that against the law? Do I have to report that?
No, I mean, you didn't commit a crime as far as assaulting anybody, but, you know, we always encourage somebody to contact us immediately if they see anything or something like that happens, but we haven't had, how long ago did this happen? Like recently?
No, I'm just, no, the reason I'm asking you this because you know that CPS is involved in my life. They came into my house without a search warrant, and I don't know what your final verdict on that, if you've looked at it, what's going on with that. But I mean, in regard to that, I mean, I am being maliciously harassed by CPS, sheriff, and I mean, first off, like I'm looking at my transcript from my case out of Spokane, and somebody said that they saw me drag Crystal while pregnant across the road. Right? They never notified the police. Right? And there's no witness. Michelle Woodworth is saying that somebody told her this. Right? They won't testify on this on the stand. Right? Because it never happened. Right? And I'm just saying, if somebody, if people, I mean, it's like they're saying that Crystal's in imminent harm and stuff like that, but yet I don't miss visits, Sheriff. I go to the doctor. I do whatever I'm supposed to do to stay in compliance with everybody, right? But CPS is mischaracterizing that, and don't I've tried everything in my power, short of going to the governor, and I mean they make it because I can't go back to Spokane, Sheriff. And I keep saying, you know, I know my situation in Spokane and Tacoma, and it's COVID. But that being said, I got arrested up there. I mean, my lawyer didn't want to huh?
You got arrested up there?
Yes, a while ago, you know,
Oh,
and
wow, so not just recently.
No. It's been forever, and I mean, it all happened over this child custody, right? I mean, the hospital arrested me because of my felony background, but I was there for 3 days, and nobody had any issues with me. It was towards the end, after the baby was born, then did everything start turning sideways. Like nobody ever complained about me filming because they're making it like I was filming other patients. We were in a private room, sheriff. You know what I mean? What is it against the rules? And the judge even said that hospitals are public domain to a point. They're limited public access. Um,
Yeah, there's a lot of different laws that kind of pertain to that because obviously people's medical issues are protected under HIPAA. So like to go in and report it, like you said, I worked there. I don't know if that's something Spokane.
well, no,
For
but
example, if you're in there and there's medical records and there's patients and people in hospitals, they have a protection under HIPAA.
right. But I know what HIPAA. I mean, I do this. I used to do this for a living. I know exactly what HIPAA is, and it's just like you guys. If you leave your laptop open in your car, it's not my fault if I film it. You know what I mean? It's your responsibility to, and that's the same thing with HIPAA. It's not on the patient to have to protect his information. It is upon the hospital. But that being said, and I mean, getting into disorderly conduct and disturbing the peace. If I, and the law reads, if I am where I'm allowed to be lawfully, and somebody comes and harasses me where I'm allowed to be lawfully, and they say that their policy trumps my constitutional rights, even though I was allowed to be where I was allowed to be lawfully, sheriff, and I'm just saying, I keep telling, and I mean, I'm not trying to confront.
So these are things that happen to us.
Right, but I mean, but that being said, now I'm here in your purview. They said, I mean, again, getting back to they came into my house without a search warrant. There is nothing under the law that gave them the right to come into my house without a search warrant, and they did. And that's what I gave you, that affidavit.
Yeah,
It's
I got that. Yeah, my undersheriff spoke with you about that, and he got the paperwork. And I'm going to give you that. So I guess my question is on. So your concern is that in an affidavit they're providing information like in Spokane, things that weren't back.
no,
Have you
but
been given an attorney here on this?
well, that's
Find
it.
a guy to get an attorney?
And here's the irony, even if you pay for an attorney, I mean, like for instance, sir, what if they made a magic pill that stops everybody from being criminal? Right? I mean, and it worked, like the COVID shot works, you know what I mean? So just say they came up with this hypothetical pill that cured everybody from criminal activity, would we need law enforcement anymore?
Oh, I don't. My opinion, I think there's always a need for law.
Well, I agree. I agree with you. That's what I said.
That's one of those things where, I know, like, what we usually do is because, child custody matters, death, and like divorces and other things. A lot of those are civil matters involving custody matters and things like that, which don't fall under a sheriff's. However, what we try to do is we're not attorneys, we don't get legal advice, but what we try to do is ensure people understand the best way to get proper guidance and legal guidance on your, like, the questions that you have about any kind of case reports that may have happened in Spokane or happened here involving
What?
yes, and those issues, which is technically, they're a separate agency outside the sheriff's office.
So how do I bring
People to proper legal guidance to get
Right, but
guidance on intern.
how do I bring legal charges when I have proof that they violated the sanctity of my house? Right? There was no explanation. They didn't even tell me. I mean, so better yet, they came into my house and they didn't even tell me that they did it, which is a clear violation because even if you did search somebody's house, you're supposed to tell them that you did it and have their reason to be able to excuse what their reasoning behind it was. Did they believe? I mean, my car wasn't here, sheriff. They have my phone number, right? I mean, and
And I was going to ask, have you had a chance to bring this up with the judge in court? Have you been shared with the judge or
What?
anything on your case?
that's okay. When I was in court the other day, I mean, right? They keep postponing my case against what the law says that they're allowed to do, right? And they're saying they got they weren't ready, right? My lawyer, our lawyers got their case, and for some reason they had over a week to get things, ready. They should have called witnesses. We show up in court and they're not calling no witnesses. They're not going to present no. Oh no, we just need you to testify. And I'm like, man, there's more to than just testimony. Now we get a show where they're lying. I want to call witnesses. I want them to testify on the stand because, like for instance, they say in the documents that I have a potty mouth, Sheriff. Do you hear me swearing? Do you ever have you ever in the many times that me and you have talked, do I use vulgar language? Do I seem like I'm trying to impose my will on others? I talk loud. That's just my nature.
Yeah, as far as my interaction with you, I mean, like I said, I can't speak for other people outside of my interactions with you, obviously. But is that information that you're talking about, that you're referring to, is that in that information?
Yeah. Well, no. Well, that being said, I provided you with just one piece of it, them lying in a sworn affidavit. But like, for instance, Michelle Woodward stated on a sworn affidavit that I told her that I had domestic violence out of Idaho and that I pled the fifth and fled the state of Idaho. That's not the truth, Your Honor. Sheriff, that didn't happen. That being said, I have a video that I would like to show you of what happened and how. And I mean, because I called there to make a complaint, right? And the undersheriff of Cassia County told me they reviewed it, right? And that sheriff, he arrested me for pleading the fifth. He came up, and I mean, this happens to me and Crystal all the time, right? She's a little bit bigger, right? And people want to tell her, hey, you should go on a diet. And it's like, she's a really nice lady, and she does. So I'm like, why would you tell her that? Are you saying she's fat? You know what I mean? Because and the way they talk to her, they want to like, everybody wants to save her. And it's like, hey, you know what? If you guys want to save her, pay her rent and all that, you know? And I mean, it's like, people think that I'm mistreating my wife and all that. And I'm like, I'm not holding her here in my house, right? She could leave, but she doesn't want to because she knows the way you guys are. Right, Sheriff, she chooses to talk to whoever she wants, but she has her own phone, Sheriff, and they call my phone, and I'm saying, no, you can't talk to her on my phone. She has her own phone number, right? Why don't you guys call her on her phone? And what do? They call my phone again, and then they say I didn't allow her to talk to her. I'm like, hey, I have people calling my phone all the time. You know what I mean? Why don't you call her phone? Sheriff, they haven't even come to my house and done an inspection, right? They say that Crystal's in imminent harm, right? Have they notified you? Has anybody ever told you that Crystal might be in harm?
In my jurisdiction, not that I'm aware of.
Okay, but how long have I lived in your jurisdiction? In 8 months. I've been under the purview of CPS for over a year. Have they notified you? I mean, and you would think if it was as bad as they say it is, Sheriff, right, that they would talk about, hey, you know what, Sheriff, we need you to go in there and investigate. Maybe talk to the neighbor and see if she's in harm, right? We're in visit 3 times a week. Not one of them, but they put complaints in because I speak Spanish. And they try to tell me that I'm not allowed to speak Spanish to my son. And I'm like, you can't do that. You can't tell me I'm not allowed to speak Spanish to my son. You know, it's little things like that. And then they put it in the record now that I'm being confrontational, and I'm like, and then they say I swear, Sheriff, right? And I'm like, I got so many videos, because again, they tell me that I'm not allowed to record people, and I'm saying, you work for the government, you are not entitled to privacy. I'm sorry, you guys are not entitled to privacy. That being said, I'm not going to go park outside your house, Sheriff, and videotape you. That's wrong, you know what I mean? But if you're in public, right, and you're representing the sheriff's office, I have every right to record your conversation with me.
Oh, yeah, it's like when you came up the other day, I have no issue. Now, I can't speak for other jurisdictions.
Oops. My bad.
Now, and when you brought in that information, when I was gone, I did not receive the right information from the sheriff. For me to look at, I just don't do that. But as far as what happens in Spokane or jurisdiction, I can't have anything to do with it. The one thing that I can recommend, and I always try to recommend to people in their circumstances to help them out with this, is to try and consult their attorney. They're the ones who can look at the document and do it. They can make the arguments in court for you. They're the ones that can legal advice and help out. And that's the best advice to people in the
Right.
circumstances. Because they can do that properly.
But I could show you documentation that I not only text message them, send them emails asking them specific questions, what my rights are. How come they haven't advocated? How come they haven't like straight up said, hey, you know what? Why don't you put your money where your mouth is or shut up? Right? Because they're not defending me. It's like they should be saying, huh? Well, no, like our attorneys. Me and Crystal both have attorneys out of Spokane. We have attorneys out of Columbia County. Well, they're out of Walla Walla, but they're representing us here, right? And it's like I keep asking them, how come we don't put in an affidavit of a rebuttal? And they're like, oh, we don't need to do that. And I'm like, no, but I just read case law, and they're saying that's what you should do. Oh, we don't need to call witnesses at a preliminary hearing. And I'm like, you know what? Everybody says that's the best time to call witnesses. They don't want to put in the legwork. And, there's courts that say, you know what, you can't second guess if your lawyer is doing it in your best interest. But when they're telling me something that's already standard operating, like, this is what they should have filed, Sheriff, and they didn't. They haven't even, put in a cease and desist letter, asked the judge to tell CPS because they've lied. They said that there's domestic violence in my relationship, but yet they haven't even investigated it. How does that work? I mean, that's why I'm asking you.
I don't know, as far as the CPS side of things, it's an investigation report. That, like I said, how that works, that's outside of the sheriff's office. They're investigators and their stuff.
Okay, but if they're acting under the...
If you're not happy with your attorneys or anything like that, that's something where you make a contact with
I mean-
them, let them know. They're the ones who do the best for us. They're the ones who guide you through this. They're the ones who in charge of your case with calling witnesses and doing those things. And so I recommend being in contact with them. They're the ones that make the proper legal advice, because I can't do that with the stuff like you mentioned out of Spokane or different counties where you came and arrested you and so you could not do certain things. That's something that happened in different jurisdiction that I have no control over.
Well, no, but see,
Contact your attorney
and I...
courts are where it's
I respectfully disagree. How do you guys catch bank robbers? If you didn't see the bank robber with your own eyes commit that crime, then how do you have the probable, how do you have reasonable, articulable reasoning that they did it? You got to base this on hearsay, or it's not hearsay because you'd have first, but what if you had a videotape? Isn't that videotape evidence enough to prove that you robbed a bank if they have your face and the gun in hand?
Yeah, again, Billy, I can't speak for what happened in a different...
Well, no, but I'm saying
video or investigative, these are all things that didn't occur here that I...
No, but you saw that they went, not only you saw the affidavit where they say that they got the key from the landlord, right?
And that's what you said. I know you gave that paperwork to my undersheriff, and I haven't had a chance to review it. Like I said, I've been out of the office, but I will review that and look at that. And I was going to say, again, once I have a chance to review that, if you want to check in with me, I'd say, what's today? Today's Wednesday?
Yes.
If you want to check in with me on Friday and give me a chance to review that paperwork so I can have a better understanding of what you're referring to, I'd really appreciate it, because then I could kind of understand more of what you're talking about, what affidavit you're referring to, and hopefully I can have a better grip on, what direction to send you and stuff, or where we could be. But like I said, as far as CPS, I can't talk for them, but I haven't had a chance to look at that paperwork, so if you can give me a chance to do that.
Well, I will, and I'm just...
that paperwork and review that, and then get a hold of me on Friday, after I have a chance to, have a better understanding of what you're referring to, because you're telling me, they've said this in affidavit, they said this in affidavit. I have not read or reviewed those affidavits yet, and I can't say yes or no to any information you're telling me. So,
but there's more than that. There's video. There's video of this happening. You know what I mean? And it's like, I know that if you guys see it with your eyes, you know what I mean, that it gives it more weight, especially when they're swearing under affidavits. I mean, did you know that they went to the hospital and said that we shook our baby while handing them over there, right? And they didn't disclose that the hospital said, that's not true. I mean, we looked at it, and what you said is unfounded, and it's weird that they didn't, if they have evidence that acquits us and they hold it back, that's against the law too, is it not?
Well, like I said, I can't speak to other agencies. I'm not a privy to all the information to say.
But that happened right here in your county.
Your questions, because everything is situational based on the circumstances at the time of what happened, and since I'm not part of that and haven't been part of that, I can't answer that question because I don't know what the circumstances were at the time. Because one minute it could be yes, another situation it may be no. It depends on the circumstances.
Right.
Without having that knowledge and knowing the totality of the circumstances,
right.
It's hard for me to say, oh yes, it's going to be this, or no, it's going to be this. So, and what happens in different jurisdictions, or what happened at the hospital with CPS and in other areas, I can't attest to that or talk to that. I don't know. But I can review the paperwork that you brought into my undersheriff. Either him or myself will review that.
And how long ago did I present that, sir?
I'd have to find out. Like I said, I've been out of the office on several other issues, and so I'm back in the office now. So like I said, it'll give me a chance to review it, and I'll see if my undersheriff's reviewed it. For example, he's not in the office today, this afternoon. Tomorrow I'll have a chance to ask him if he reviewed that. I will have a chance to review it. And that's what I'm saying. Let me have a chance to look at the paperwork, review what you're referring to, and then get a hold of me on Friday afternoon, and then we can see where I can go, so I can have an understanding of what your concerns are, what your complaints are, and if there's anything that I can do from the sheriff's office side of things.
Well, and I am giving you a heads up. You and Deputy Robbie. What was Robbie's first name?
The
Oh,
undersheriff, that's under Sheriff Patterson.
Yeah, Robbie Patterson. Because he prayed over us that day. You know, we have that on video.
Yep.
But we're calling both you guys as witnesses, and I mean that's not necessarily character witnesses, but I mean in light of everything that's been said about us, I mean. I'm giving you a heads up. You know, we're going to ask, have you ever been asked about issues of domestic violence in the whole time that I've lived in the city of Dayton? Have you guys have even, you know what I mean? Stuff like that, because I think it is pertinent to what's going on in my life, because the CPS can say, they can come into my house and say, hey, well, you know, we made a mistake, but now that we're in your life, here, let's just do a mental health evaluation, even though I don't have to. Lawfully, I mean, even the court said, oh, well, I want you to, and I'm like, I'm not doing it. And I mean, this is where I am, Sheriff. I mean, people are calling my name in question. They want to call me a woman beater, but yet they never notified you guys. And I'm just saying, what if something would have happened? I mean, I've seen lawsuits that were filed on less than that, on negligence on CPS's part. And if they really believe that Crystal's in imminent harm, how come they haven't notified you?
Right. And like I said, I haven't seen that situation on the circumstances of your case. I don't know. Because like I said, that's a different realm. But like I said, I can have a chance to review that paperwork.
Right. But in the paperwork, it says
that... Find out more about it, look at it, and we can discuss it more on Friday.
All right. Thank you, sir. I'm going to let you go because I know you're a busy man.
Let me have a chance to look at that paperwork. I wish I could give you better answers. It's just not being involved, not being part of your case. We've had nothing as far as a criminal investigation into you since you've been here, and you're explaining things that happened in Spokane, things that CPS has said and done, which is a different department jurisdiction. So I'd like to have a chance to gather information and understand what's going on. Like I said, the best advice we always give is try to work with your attorney, get proper legal advice, but let me get a chance to look at your paperwork, and if there's anything from the sheriff's point of view or criminal in nature or background that I need to be aware of, I'll review that paperwork and we can discuss a little bit more on Friday.
All right. Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying right there in a nutshell. Thank you.
All right.
We'll talk to you Friday.
All right. Thanks, Alex.
Yeah. Bye. No, and I mean, I'm getting exposed. I mean, like, I got affidavits, or this is the transcripts from Spokane, Washington. This is what they say happened. So during my investigation, I was able to locate family members in Idaho, including the sister that has adopted. And then during the FTDM, family members had not started talking and also came apart out. So they talked about concerning behavior, right? They go in to say that they said that I picked her up. Me picked her up and dragged. I don't know how I picked her up and dragged her, but they said that they saw me pick her up and drag her across the road while beating her, and nobody called the police. Nobody. I mean, they say this happened, and it's like, where? You guys didn't film it? Nobody has camera phone? You couldn't film this? We were like way out in the boonies in the middle of the mountain, right? Where there was no cell service, or what, your phone was dead? Right, but I mean, it sucks, man. People wait 20 years to come out with, I was molested when I was in school, but I mean, if they would have just said what happened to him right then and there, they could have saved lots of people. And I'm saying, if they believe me to be beating my wife, then why haven't they investigated it? Right? Why don't they come talk to my landlord? Why don't they go talk to my boss? Why don't they talk to our neighbors? You know what I mean? Why don't they call my ex-wife? You know what I mean? Why do they talk to my bishop? You know what I mean? And I got they stole my kids, man. And it's like, what am I going to do? Nothing. I'm going to fight them out in court. They can't arrest me. I haven't done nothing wrong. Right? I keep telling them, pay me. And they do. They pay me. Not a whole lot, you know what I mean? But they have to. I mean, because I keep telling people, CPS wants you to comply, right? Every time you comply with them, you surrender a little bit more of your rights, right? You have fundamental rights guaranteed under the Constitution. Remember that.